Imagine waking up one morning to find that your entire city no longer exists. Your home reduced to rubble, your street turned to dust, and your family walking aimlessly with nowhere to go. This is not a scene from history or fiction. This is Gaza today, where 1 million people have been forced to flee in just days. Start with the shocking number: 1 million Palestinians displaced, half of Gaza's population uprooted in days. Human impact: families forced to abandon homes, carrying only what they can, children, mothers, and the elderly in desperate conditions. Israel's stated objective: offensive aimed at Hamas strongholds in Gaza City. Illusion of safe zones. Nowhere in Gaza is truly safe. Displacement doesn't equal protection. World's divided response: some nations back Israel's right to defend itself, others call for restraint. Lack of global consensus prolongs suffering. 1 million Palestinians have been displaced in Gaza, a number so vast it is difficult to comprehend. That is half of the population of the Strip forced to leave behind homes.
Tonight we begin with a staggering number: 1 million. That's how many Palestinians have been displaced in the wake of Israel's latest offensive on Gaza City. 1 million people forced to abandon their homes, their neighborhoods, their entire lives in a matter of days. To put this into perspective, that's almost half the population of Gaza. Imagine half of any city being uprooted overnight. That's not a statistic. That's a humanitarian catastrophe. What we are seeing today is one of the largest mass displacements in modern history. Families carrying whatever they can, walking miles, searching for shelter, safety, or even a few hours of peace. But where does safety exist in Gaza? Nowhere. Bombardments continue in the north, airstrikes pound the south.
Belongings and memories in the span of a few days. It is not just a statistic, it is a human tragedy unfolding before the eyes of the world. Families are walking long distances with only what they can carry in their arms, mothers clutching their infants, children stumbling barefoot, and the elderly being carried on makeshift stretchers. Their destinations are uncertain, their future unknown, yet they keep moving because staying is not an option. This is not migration by choice, it is survival. Israel describes its military action in Gaza City as a necessary operation against Hamas, aiming to dismantle the group's strongholds. But the fallout of such an offensive has gone far beyond militants. Entire neighborhoods have been flattened, hospitals have crumbled under strikes, and schools once meant for learning are now packed with displaced families. Even these schools are not guaranteed safety, as airstrikes have landed dangerously close to so-called shelters. A city that once bustled with life has been reduced to rubble and silence, broken only by the cries of those searching for loved ones. Basic necessities are running out. Food supplies are dwindling, clean water is scarce, medicine is almost impossible to find, and power cuts have left hospitals struggling to keep patients alive. International agencies warn of an imminent humanitarian catastrophe. Aid convoys find it nearly impossible to reach those in need. In Gaza today, people are not just running from bombs, they are fighting hunger, thirst, and disease. In tense and overcrowded shelters, families try to make space, try to find dignity in conditions that rob them of it. Displacement here does not mean safety, it simply means moving from one danger to another. The idea of designated safe zones has failed time and again. Areas marked safe are struck within hours or days. Civilians who obey evacuation orders find themselves in the path of new bombings. The bitter truth is, in Gaza there are no safe places. A displaced family is not guaranteed protection, only more uncertainty. The psychological toll of constant movement, the fear of losing everything yet again, is immeasurable. The international community remains divided. Some countries defend Israel's right to protect itself. Others condemn the scale of destruction. But in this debate, the real cost is often overlooked. At what price does security come if it means half of Gaza's people must abandon their homes? If children grow up without schools or stability, if generations are scarred by trauma, then can this be considered a solution? History offers lessons. In Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan, displacement has only fueled more instability, more anger, and more extremism. Entire generations lost to the cycle of war and exile. Gaza risks becoming another chapter in this tragic pattern. Tonight, 1 million people in Gaza are not statistics, not pawns in political games, but human beings. They deserve dignity, safety, and the chance to live with hope. The world must recognize their suffering not as collateral damage, but as the heart of this crisis. The world, meanwhile, is divided. Some nations call for restraint, others back Israel's right to defend itself. The question that no one seems to ask is, at what cost? If 1 million civilians must lose their homes, if a city is reduced to dust, if children grow up in tents without schools or healthcare, can this ever be called a solution? History tells us that displacement breeds resentment, instability, and generations of trauma. Think of Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan. Gaza is becoming another chapter in this tragic book, a place where rebuilding seems impossible because destruction never stops. Tonight, as the world debates geopolitics, the reality on the ground is stark. 1 million Palestinians wander, searching for a place to live but finding none. They are not pawns in a political game. They are human beings. They deserve dignity, security, and a future. 1 million lives uprooted is not just a crisis, it is a reminder of how fragile humanity becomes in the face of war. The world cannot look away because behind every number is a story, a family, and a future that deserves to be saved. Welcome to Worldwide News, your trusted source for breaking news. politics, and current affairs across America and beyond. Stay updated with the latest headlines, global events, and in-depth analysis, fast, accurate, and reliable. Subscribe now and never miss a moment of what matters most.